The girl in the parking lot tried to cry out for help for the third time, but she was still too weak to make any sound loud enough to matter. Her lips were purple from loss of blood, and with every breath she felt as if she was about to faint. "Where are you, my little honey bun?" came the voice from the man that was following her. He sounded as if he was extremely amused. He twirled a blood-stained knife in his hand whilst whistling a melodic love song. "Don't be shy, honey bun. You've always been so shy." Mr. Glass wasn't far from her now. They were at a construction site behind the parking lot of the bar where she had initially agreed to meet him. She was trying to escape him, sneaking between unfinished, partially framed and stacked bags of concrete mix. She was only a few yards away from her pursuer now. The simple act of having agreed to meet a man she didn't know was pure naivety in the first place, but she hadn't had the strength to say no, not when she hadn't had a date in 3 months, not when the man who had asked her out was so handsome and his online profile had seemed so nice. She had actually agreed to meet him at the bar, a place that she knew would be crowded. She felt safe there, but he had called her from the back of the parking lot where he saw her arrive, and foolishly she walked back towards his car to meet him. But then an uncomfortable conversation began in which he suggested that they skip the bar and go to his apartment. It turned into a harsh argument, and the next thing she knew, he had made a swift stabbing motion to her abdomen, ending any possibility of further conversation. As if she were unaware of her wound or its severity, the girl ran from him as quickly as she could. Mr. Glass was between her and the front of the bar, so she ran into the construction site. Her strength didn't last long, however, as with every breath, more blood poured from her wound. Mr. Glass had time. He was in no rush. He knew there were only so many places that the girl could go by that time, and only so far that she could run. He followed her into the construction site with a wicked smile on his face. "You know," he called to her, "I've got something for you. Something really special. Something you would love. If you just let me show it to you, and I will." The girl felt dizzy. She knew she couldn't go much further. She was cold and frightened. Memories of her entire life began to spin inside her mind. She thought of her mother, wishing she was there at home, safe and warm. Her father's warm embrace. She waited until the man had walked past her, gathered her strength, and stumbled back toward the street in the front of the bar. Mr. Glass sprinted after her, the blood-stained knife in his hand. "Wait! Please wait! I need your help!" The voice was feminine, and even as stressed as it was, seemed rather charming. The man she was shouting at turned his head to look at his apparent stalker. She was a slim blonde girl in her late 20s, with tear-filled hazel eyes which were bulging at the moment. Her hands were trembling, and a lock of her golden hair was glued to her pale face. "What's the problem, miss?" said the man who'd been on his way to the bar. "Calm down now. Tell me what I can do for you." He was a relatively young man with a calm voice and a pleasant appearance. He wore an overcoat and hat and a scarf around his neck. And as snowflakes started to fall, he was puzzled over the lightweight jacket she was wearing. She had only been planning a quick dash from the bus stop to the bar. "What do you need?" he asked again, trying to regain her breath She was far from being able to speak properly. In fact, she couldn't get a single proper word to come from her lips. I found, she stuttered. Oh, what is it you found? The man in the trench coat said gently. Then he noticed that her eyes were red, as if she were crying. It was hard to see in the dim light, and her hands were stained dark. Was that blood? What's your name, miss? The man asked her. Joanna, she said, bursting into tears. I found her. She's... The man put her arm around her. Why don't you come with me? We'll get you something to drink, maybe eat. No, there's a girl in the parking lot. A girl? Is she hurt? Sick? Her large blue eyes fixed on his. She's dead. Mr. Glass couldn't help but smile.